Hey guys, what's up? My name is Midnight Strike 3625, and today we're going to delve right back into the Trivium discography. So, the last time I was here I reviewed their debut album, Ember to Inferno, which dropped in the year 2003. So, flash forward to the year March of 2005, and we have their second studio album, Ascendancy, which many people critically acclaim as being one of their best studio works to date, if not their best. So for me, it's my second favorite. I'll get into my favorite a little bit later when I actually review it, but this is the second favorite. So upon hearing this, you definitely can hear a revamped sound. It still sounds like Trivium, it still has the same basic riff structures, and just the same kind of identifiable thrash metal and metalcore mixture within Trivium, and it sounds phenomenal, especially with what they do on the album. It's a little bit more polished this time around, and a definite emphasis on bass. And that's kind of ironic, because they have a new bassist after Brent Young left for college, and like I said, with the production in there and the mixing, the bass definitely comes out on top, and it definitely adds some more life to the album, as well as just a hint of flavor, much like I said on the Dave Mustaine versus Kirk Hammett debate. So, Ascendancy is known for being one of the band's, kind of a continuation of Ember to Inferno, moreover, as well as just being their entry into a more commercial sound, or a more, mainstream kind of thrash metal mixture with heavy metal, not to the point where it's so much, into the metalcore scene as it was on, say, Ember to Inferno, but it's more drawn out and a little bit more cohesive this time around. So it just sounds a little bit better. It sounds smoother and more appealing to the ear, and it's definitely intense. And it's definitely one of my top picks for Trivium. So my two favorite songs, Ascendancy and Dying in Your Arms, those are my two favorites off this album. And if I had to pick, a top four or so, Rain and Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr, and top five, probably Departure. And those are just very good songs, probably one of their best, and just very good structures overall. So, to start off, we have an intro. Yet again, we have an intro. This is going to be their last album with an intro until In Waves in 2011. And I gotta say, compared to the first intro, Inception of the Bleeding Skies, which was just a little sound bit of just nothing, practically, it doesn't really take much for this one to shine above, to rise above that which was Inception of the Bleeding Skies, but this one does it with more style, more flair, and it combines the piano with the acoustic guitar just flawlessly. It's very fleshed out, and it's very complex in nature, and it leads into Rain just perfectly. It's very calm and very intense, yet very just kind of dark and moody and mysterious at the same time. And then it leads into the all-out thrasher that is Rain, with that just couple chords in the beginning of Rain that just practically, you know where this song is headed, pretty much. It's a fast, aggressive, and just guitar-driven song of madness, basically. It's a mad thrasher. So I really like the guitars, I really like the riff structure, like I said, and the chorus is just really dark and dreary, and you can definitely feel the passion and the emotion in the way Matt Heafy is screaming and singing his cleans. That's another thing. Matt actually sings by himself a little bit in some of the choruses on, say, like Ascendancy, and it sounds very good. And that's something that he would do a lot on albums such as In Waves. And Matt Heafy has a very good voice, be it screams or cleans. He has just a very, very good, range, good vocal range, good vocal ability, and a good start to, like, putting his voice into, say, the heaviness that is Trivium, and comparing it to, like, the guitars and stuff. But, like I said, to get into it, Rain, good song. Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr. This was the debut single for the album, basically to promote it. And this is another one of my favorites. Really like the guitar pitch. The production definitely rubs off. You can really hear the bass in this one, and it's got a very frantic intro. So, yeah. To get into it, it's just, I don't know. I really like the chorus as well. They put, a lot of aggressive screams in there, as well as mixed with some cleans too. So, like I said, good song. And the next one, Drown and Torn Asunder. This one is definitely more of a vocal-driven track, and I gotta say, it's one of my favorites. I really like the use of the effects in the chorus, and just the way that the vocals flow into like, say, the effects. And I believe there's a little bit of vocal harmony going on in there, too. So it sounds very good. Very just well-oriented, well-crafted, well just fleshed out, basically. And the next one is, of course, Ascendancy. Like I said, favorite song on here. It's just very intense, very dark. Probably one of the most aggressive songs on here, aside from Rain. And just an overall really, really good song. I love the chorus. I love the way Matt sings. I love the aggression and the screams. Hell, I love the solos. I love everything about this song. It's an amazing song. One of my favorites by Trivium overall. The next one is A Gunshot to the Head of Trepidations. This one has some really good guitar licks, but sometimes the riffs just kind of blend together and it starts sounding like what we've already heard, so it's a little forgettable in that aspect, and sometimes it does run a little long. That's my only complaint about it, and I'm digging deep to even find that. I really like the chants towards, I believe it's like 3/4 of the way through where Matt is chanting fire, so it sounds really good in that aspect, and once you get up to there, you just like, wow, this is actually a really good song. But about 1/4 of the way through it, you just start to get a little bored with it. So that's my only complaint about that song. Otherwise, a really good song. Like Light to the Flies, this one is aggressive and melodic at the same time. In fact, it's the perfect mixture of the two. I like the guitar-oriented groove riffs, and just it leads into this chorus that is, like I said, just very aggressive and very melodic at the same time. I don't really know how they mix the two, how they managed to intertwine those two very different things, but they did it very well. So this is Trivium we're talking about here. This is what people consider to be their best album, so should I really be surprised? Didn't think so. Next one, of course, is Dying in Your Arms, just the main mix that's found on the standard edition of the album, and I do like this song, however I like the video mix a little bit more. I don't know, it's just the production of the video mix just sounds better, but the song itself is very good. One of my favorites, very sound structurally, has a very good sound to it, and very melodic, yet it's not as aggressive as it doesn't have those unclean vocals, those screams by Matt Heafy, but it does have the more Metallica, James Hetfield style kind of growls to it, kind of grit in his vocals, and the guitar tone is definitely there. I love the guitar harmonies and just the way it sounds overall. So it's a very just commercial sounding song. It could be on the radio, actually. It was a really nice break from what we've already heard thus far on the album. That being, of course, just aggressive guitar driven brutal solo songs. So it's not as technical. This album's not as technical as, say, Shogun, which would come next, but it is very, very good. So the next one is The Deceived. This one, at first when I listened to it, I thought it was just going to be an all-screaming song, to be honest. And then, of course, the cleans come in during the chorus, and it just starts to make sense. It just starts to sound really good and starts to clear up. And I don't know, the guitars just seemed a little bit muddy in this song. Didn't really care for it that much. And the only redeeming qualities in it are the chorus, are the vocals, the clean vocals, moreover, and how they utilize those effects. So this one definitely was not one of my favorites. It's a good song, but wouldn't really listen to it over and over again. The next one is Suffocating Sight, has some really good guitar melodies in it. It's very catchy, but it runs on too long. That's my only complaint about it. It runs on way too long. It's 3 minutes and 47 seconds, but it feels like you're listening to it for like 7 minutes for some reason. Maybe it's the fact that I didn't listen to it enough, but I'm not sure. I really like the guitars, I really like the riff structure, the soloing was really phenomenal, but just the way it was set up and the way it was put together really didn't catch my attention that much. So, of course, then we have Departure, which is probably the most melodic song on this album. It has a lot of those vocal harmonies that I had mentioned before, a lot of great use of effects, a lot of just melody-driven guitars, and it's very downbeat, not as commercial as, say, Dying in Your Arms, as there is screaming in here, but it is a very, very melodic song. And the next one is, of course, Declaration, and, like I said, runs on a little bit too long. It's 7 minutes, but it's got some great stuff in here. I mean, it has the vocals, it has the screams, it has the really great riff structure, really awesome solos. I mean, he's just shredding it. And the bass is just booming in this song, much like it was in Ascendancy. It's just a very, very intense song. And the next is Washing Me in the Tides and Blinding Tears Will Break the Skies. These two, of course, are the bonus tracks, you know, the bonus original tracks that aren't just like remakes of the same song or covers. But these two, I gotta say, I like Washing Me Away in the Tides, excuse me, more than I do Blinding Tears Will Break the Skies. It's kind of funny that they rhyme, but anyways, the reason being is the beginning of Washing Me is a lot better. It's a lot more thought out, and it's just a lot more frantic. It's really more enjoyable listening to something, and it's just really all out, just shredding practically. So that song is very good. I like both of them, but Washing Me Away in the Tides is much better for me, at least. So the next one is, of course, Master of Puppets. And I know you're thinking Metallica. Yup. What do you think of this one? I think it's a very, very good song. I think it's a very faithful remake. They go all out and just try to play it as fast as they can. It's very aggressive, very intense, and for some reason, though, what really bugged me with this is the lack of bass. I mean, all the way up until this point, the album had phenomenal bass boosts. The album had, you know, phenomenal just boom, 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 or just really intense kind of, you know, bass in the background, and it was just a really full-sounding production. But here, it just sounds a little flat for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but the production definitely isn't up to par with the rest of the album with this cover right here. All that out of the way, it is a very faithful remake, but when they play it as fast as they can, some of the passion that can be heard in the original is lost in the mix. Other than that, though, I really enjoy listening to this song. So, the last one is, of course, the video mix of Dying in Your Arms, and it adds an intro, and it's a different mix of the song altogether. So the production, in my opinion, is a little bit better. It's a little bit more commercial sounding, but it definitely fits what the song was originally intended to be. So, that being said, this is an amazing album, and I am going to give it a solid 9.6 out of 10, and you know, just check it out. This is probably one of Trivium's best. Like I said, my second favorite pick. I will reveal what my favorite is as soon as I get there, as soon as I review my favorite. So, that being said, thank you very much for watching. 9.6 out of 10. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.